Hi, and welcome to Marvel Movie News. This week we're talking about, will Loki come back? Is it his last time? Has Gambit been delayed? And do we have a ton of X-Men news? The answer to all those might be yes, but you'll have to watch and find out here on Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Marvel Movie News. It is our very special 75th or 76th episode, depending on who you ask. The number or the Matt key. Either way, we have a lot to talk about today, and we're going to start by introducing Miss Jaden LaBelle.
Hi guys, it's Jaden.
So Jaden's with us today. We have no Meredith and no Matt, so I will be spearheading this whole magical journey.
Oh no.
I know, it's a whole thing. Now Matt has a whole spiel about forward/following all sorts of things, so just go to Twitter and follow us on Marvel Movie News PTN and like us, and if you retweet us talking about the live chat, the voice of Doom. There he is.
Doom has unmuted himself.
Doom will tweet you back, and also talk to us on Facebook and any other social media madness you want to talk about. So, how are we doing today?
We're doing good.
I like how news angry this just became.
I know, it's like, we're doing great, and we're going to go to our Eye in the Sky.
We've got
Doom.
Matt Key in St. Louis. He's out there. So, well, there's not a lot of news this week. We don't have him. That was a bold-faced lie. So there's not a lot of news this week. So we're gonna try something new and exciting. At the end of the show, this was our social media manager Colt Badeau's idea. We are actually gonna be taking calls, like Howard Stern style.
I am so excited.
I'm so
about
excited.
This. I hope you guys have some great questions.
It's so dramatic. So, in lieu of the opening spiel, we're going to be taking calls at the end to mix it up this week, and I am so excited to actually directly hear from my favorite part of the show, the fans.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Accurate. But first, before we get to all that, we have a fair amount of news. So, let's, nothing big, but news nonetheless. First up, rumor has it that Don Cheadle is encouraging the rumor that has him dying. He said, quote, "I'm on Twitter, so I've gotten a few people going, Rhodey better not be dead, son. I'm gonna be so mad, or I'm done with this thing if Rhodey's dead. But that's cool. I like that people get so upset about it." He adds, "I like that in a Marvel movie people are able to evoke such emotion, and that, yes, it does look bad for Rhodey." So, we've talked about in the past how they are kind of doing a bait and switch with War Machine in the trailers showing that he dies or at least gets badly injured, but now with Don Cheadle himself kind of pushing that forward, I'm curious if this is like laying into that bait and switch further, or if it's actually just like he dies and they've given that away. What do you think?
That's how I sort of feel about it. Is sort of like
About it. He adds,
I mean, he's got to fear getting in trouble with, with contracts and stuff. Like, you can't say so much. So, I mean, it could be a classic case of misdirection.
but it's like such a big one. Like, he didn't have to say anything, and now he's just laying into it more. Like, are we actually getting that in the trailer?
My favorite. I don't know. I mean, if it's in the trailer, there's a good chance that it's,
I think it's just him getting hurt, and he's just like,
exactly,
because he wants the love, and I get that. That's awesome.
Totally, but I like that he just goes, I like that people get emotional about these movies.
Yeah, it's really cool that Marvel causes that.
Yeah,
like we're such a large part of society now, like the comic culture, that like it's influencing all pop culture, and people are like emotionally invested in War Machine. That's amazing. 2016 is awesome.
Totally.
And speaking of Civil War, in 2 weeks, CinemaCon on April 13th, people get to see Cap Civil War. So I'm jealous, but that also means we're also going to get the beginning of potentially spoilers, reviews, leaks. So beginning in 2 weeks, be careful, stay vigilant, avoid the internet if you're someone that got mad at me for the toy being leaked and me accidentally revealing a character that we knew was in the movie.
Power comes great responsibility.
I had that power. and I yielded it poorly, so I'm sorry, society. So April 13th, the first people get to see it. What do you think?
You know what? I'm actually, now I'm worried about it. Before I'd be like, I didn't care about it. I mean, you were there when I saw the first Captain America, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna check out this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really excited for Civil War now.
Well,
and
we did a watch along last week.
I still haven't seen Winter Soldier. We're still doing that.
Yep.
But now I'm just like, this movie's gonna be like, already, like, I was worried, I was like, okay, all these movies are out, and I'm like doing this like catching up game, and now I'm like, is it gonna, like, finally I'm excited about it.
We get to see them in rapid succession.
I'm involved. I wasn't involved in this kid's life, and now I'm involved.
Boom.
And now
it's the end of a trilogy, a magical trilogy.
And it could be ruined for me like that.
Yeah. I think you're moments away, so see it before April 13th. We're going to do the watch-along before April 13th, I think. That'll be our goal, or around then. So that's it for Avengers news, because it's coming out so soon, we can't really dive into Cap 3 that much more. But on the Marvel side, we also have a comment from Tom Hiddleston himself, who was saying that, quote, Thor 3 will be cool because I've not done it in 4 years. I love working with Chris Hemsworth. This will be my last time out of the gate, quote. So that's an interesting concept that we don't know if Loki is done here. He doesn't know if he's done here because, as he says, they kind of make it up as they go along. But what if Ragnarok doesn't spell the end of Thor, it spells the end of Loki? Have you watched the Thor films?
I have. I'm not. Those ones are sort of like a B-side for me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, being kind of a girl at conventions and stuff. I remember I was interviewed for Smosh Games about like who is like the hottest character, and Loki was in there, and everyone expected like a solid like 9 or 10. And I was like, no, like 4 for sure.
See, I love Loki in the movies. Like, I think he's the best villain
actor,
in the film.
Good villain. He's fun. I like I like his thoughts on like what he'd do if he was like where Loki would be.
He also was talking about which side he'd on. He'd be like, I'd be sitting on a roof somewhere, just like
yes,
watching both.
Children.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is
but
so
that's
cool.
what I mean. Like Tom Hiddleston knows the character to such a level that when he talks about it, he feels
is the character.
invested. Yeah.
He's really made that like that character isn't going anywhere without him.
And I feel like that he is the best villain in maybe not the Netflix universe if we're encompassing that, but just in the films, he's not like a gray amorphous blob. Like I feel like a lot of Marvel's big issue is their villains are similar, whereas Loki feels actually like madness.
That's true. That's a fair comparison because good movie villains are sort of sometimes they're we like to pull from things that we like all the time, but that can
I feel like villains are more important than the heroes in some cases.
Yeah, that could be it could get played out the villains in that universe.
So
I feel like
you want the villains, maybe Doom is one. You want them to be dynamic, you want them to be interesting, because otherwise you have a flat story. You have no stakes for your heroes to have to fight against.
Yeah, it just the odds just don't seem great enough at that point where it's like, oh, your motive is also money and power.
Right, and I feel like one of the criticisms that Marvel gets that is actually warranted is their villains are similar or the stakes aren't high enough. So I really hope we don't lose Loki. And Tom Hiddleston himself said he doesn't know, but that comment, the initial comment, seems worrisome. So I hope we keep Tom Hiddleston.
Also another classic case of misdirection.
That's true, and he is the god of mischief. So if anyone is going to misdirect, it's Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
I would be shocked if we got through, even if he dies in Ragnarok, I would be shocked if we got through Infinity Wars Parts 1 and 2 without seeing Hiddleston at the very least.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even just the ghost of him.
The ghost of Tom Hiddleston.
It just seems like they do a really good job of like playing with our emotions.
Oh, they do.
It seems
absolutely.
like today is a very emotional day.
It's a big thing.
Like,
yes, all
so
Marthas.
far, everything.
And then we have James Gunn commenting. I have a tricky thing with the internet. I'm very excited about where we go as these films develop, but at the same time, like, Guardians 2 hasn't dropped yet, and people are already asking James Gunn if he's doing Guardians 3.
I loved what he had to say about it, though. Like, exactly. Like, people were like, he doesn't know if he's gonna do Guardians 3, but he's like, I'd rather just focus on making this movie
the best it can be.
Amazing.
Like, he said, if you guys haven't read the quote, the quote is, right now, I really am just concerned with doing Guardians Volume 2. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after this. Marvel has talked to me about continuing on. I'm not sure that's what I want to do, or if that's not what I want to do. I really just want to make Guardians Volume 2 the greatest possible movie that I can. I agree. Like, he shouldn't invest his efforts into 5 years from now. Like, no one knows what they're doing in 5 years from their life.
Well, a lot of directors sort of, when you make a big movie after big movie, and then it just sort of becomes like a paycheck, and you have like your next couple of movies just lined up ready for you. And he's like, I'm going to focus on making this one the best I can, maybe even better than the first one.
Right, and he has the potential to.
And then, because the franchise is so important to people now, that is literally my favorite movie.
Guardians
That
1?
is I love Guardians. And I am so excited for Guardians 2. And now I'm just more excited about it.
Guardians is tied with Winter
He totally
Soldier.
makes Guardians 2 just that much more just like beautiful, like this, like it's going to be worth seeing, and I'm excited about it, and it's going to really add to the already built-in franchise that it's made for itself.
I forgot how excited and how much I love Guardians until they released an image of just the back of a chair, and it was just their logo, and I was like, a chair made me excited. And then I remembered like all of that powerful love Guardians, just like this palpable. I'm so excited.
We also have what is it? The rumored Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, no, I think he's confirmed. We just don't know what he is.
Oh, okay,
I think
yeah,
he's
we still
confirmed
don't
in
know
the
what.
No, they confirmed him, and he's going to be playing one of the Ravagers.
But we don't know who.
We don't know who
Okay.
exactly, but we know he's not a planet.
We had a pretty good theory going that it was going to be like Sky-Lord's
I'm still
Yeah,
pulling for
yeah.
him or Al Pacino as Ego the Living Planet, and I hope that he's just pretending to be a Ravager.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
But moving on to Netflix, we have a tiny little bit of news from John Bernthal. He was saying that, quote, "For me, it's not a question of what they want to do with the character, it's more, how are they going to do it, and who's going to be the ones to do it. This character's in my bones now. He's in my blood. If they want to go forward in my way, it's for me really just going to make sure we do it in a way that's raw and intense. I want to push the envelope. I want to alienate more of the audience and try to bring them back." I love John Bernthal. After how amazing season 2 was, and after his Punisher, for me, set the bar for Marvel's heroes. Like, to me, it was like Heath Ledger's Joker or Downey Jr.'s Iron Man or Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. It was a character he was born to play, and seeing that for 13 hours was an impressive feat. And hearing this quote talking about how it's in his bones and how much he wants it again, I am all for a Punisher show. Now that you're caught up, what do you think?
Well, I think he definitely needs his own spinoff. Do you think he could make it to the big screen though? Do you think?
I think Punisher belongs on a Netflix show personally.
I think that's a perfect platform for it. Do you think it could translate into a new movie?
See, I used to have
I would love to see that the transition between TV show like Marvel TV show to full-length film.
I used to see it as like an upgrade. I used to see film as like the pinnacle, like you've reached a thing. But with these Netflix shows, I feel like Netflix is actually doing a better job with the long-form storytelling that you couldn't do in a movie. So I'd prefer to see a long-form Netflix show with Punisher and then have him maybe show up in Infinity War for a moment, but not have a full Punisher movie. I think he belongs in a long-form segment and then sprinkling in maybe
That's
the
fair.
Avengers.
And yes, he definitely embodied. I liked seeing, like, when he was talking about his family and his past in season 2 of Daredevil, and it showed his actual, like, working his acting muscles and like, being diverse.
And he was on I think it was Conan, or it was either Conan or Kimmel, talking about how one of the late nights,
really similar looking.
it's a whole talking about how he had to kind of stay in character while he's playing the Punisher, and he was like, I feel all pretentious saying it, but like he isolated himself and he kind of stayed alone and he kind of dwelled in this darkness. And seeing John Bernthal all like happily and bubbly on a show, and then seeing how he was Punisher, it's amazing what he was able to do.
That always freaks me out,
right?
When you're like, ugh, go back to go back to the
Go
other.
being a guy,
it's like, oh man, you're like that person too.
But seeing that level of commitment is why I think he needs a 13-hour show. I think he needs that long to invest. I think the character is rich enough
to build a good backstory.
Yeah,
and stuff. That's true.
And I think we deserve that after how good Punisher was. So I hope it's Netflix. I'd prefer that to a movie, and I didn't feel that way until Daredevil season 2. I do feel like they're separate, but not necessarily one above the other.
He was absolutely the best part of season 2 of Daredevil. He made the season so, because season 1 was great. And but season 2 was phenomenal because of that.
I felt like when he was cast, I knew visually he looked right. He was an actor I'd followed for years. He's a supporting actor that steals the show. I didn't know.
Was he your pick, or did you?
100%. When Tom Hardy said he wanted it, I was like, there's no one else. Then John Bernthal got it, and I was like, that is perfect. So I knew he'd be great. I didn't know he'd redefine what I think of the Punisher as, and that made me happy.
And that's what's really made you happy about it, is that like he succeeded your expectations.
He's the pinnacle of what that character could be to me.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. Now, speaking of Netflix, and this will make the voice of Doom happy, we had an amazing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Easter egg on the most recent episode.
I saw that.
Do we have a pick of that?
We do.
I rather enjoyed this little moment. It's pretty amazing how they were able to tie it in, and it's one of the first and most direct tie-ins, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, between the ABC universe and the Netflix universe.
As far as I know, it's the first direct reference that they've had between the two. It's the first time they've acknowledged, other than, oh no, that's true. There was one Easter egg where Chloe Bennett's character, Daisy, Skye, whatever you want to call her, went to the same orphanage that Matt Murdock.
Right, I remember that one.
But let's take a look at this real quick.
So we literally have a screen grab from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which in the buzz line at the bottom mentions gang war rages in Hell's Kitchen, authorities searching for solution. That's awesome. Like, it's tying together so directly, so literally, so visually, so excited.
Why is it we love these so much? They're so fun. It's like
because we're like kids
they
reading
did
comics.
It's like when the Flintstones met the Jetsons.
Yeah,
we
like
all
when you're flipping through a comic and like there's one little panel like mentioning Daredevil in a Spider-Man book, it's like, oh, that's right.
And
like,
it connects the universe.
This is happening in pop culture. This is happening on a TV show that's on ABC talking about Netflix, and that to me is the highest level of like we've done it as a comic culture.
The other thing that's really cool about this is it sets up a timeline for the Netflix shows that we've never had in terms of the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe. All we knew was after Avengers.
Right.
So it was after the incident. But now we know this is taking place right at where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is right now, which is maybe a month out from Civil War.
And I love that we had the incident mentioned in Daredevil Season 2 and then this. So you're right, that this ties in even more directly because of those three things, making a timeline pretty strong. So I just wanted to mention that, give some love for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm pretty excited. And as always, since we rarely have the time and Matt's not here to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., check out the AfterBuzz show, which goes into it in more length than any of us have time to.
This week, well, I have all the time to do it.
I mean, Zach has the time.
But yeah, that's... This week was nuts. We got the Watchdogs like hunting down Inhumans, and Quake going a little like nutso on some guys. It's gonna be fun. They're really building this Civil War within S.H.I.E.L.D. to lead up to the Civil War movie. And we had one of our own team members, Steve Kaufman and Yel Teagle, went to WonderCon and talked to Jeff Loeb and the rest of the cast of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about the show and specifically its tie-ins to the bigger cinematic universe.
I'm excited for it, man. That's pretty cool.
You can check those out on our sister channel, AfterBuzz TV.
Boom. See that? We used a tie-in to tie in.
There you go, guys.
It's a crossover
Look at that
between
magic.
after shows and movie
and then regular
shows.
So we also have, very briefly, some tiny non-news. This doesn't even count as news. It's just so exciting that it had to be mentioned. Vincent D'Onofrio did a watch-along, tweet-along during Daredevil Season 2 and mentioned that, quote, "I would love to do a Spider-Man film. Hope I will someday." That shouldn't be news, but for me, being a lifelong Spider-Man fan and a big Kingpin fan and a big fan of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, I just wanted to point out that the idea of D'Onofrio fighting Tom Holland was awesome. Like,
why are you so stoked on that?
Because, like, picture the moment in Season 2 where you see him benching and you're like, oh, is it gonna be? It is! That guy just, like, squashing Tom Holland, the 16-year-old boy. Like, just the strength and gravitas of D'Onofrio versus this fledgling superhero, there's just so much there. Like, him being so young leads to so many new stories we haven't really developed, and Kingpin being so broken and battered and beastly, like, that's just exciting. That tweet, that 140 characters made me just fanfic my brain out. So I wanted to share that little moment. It's not really news, but I got excited.
I feel like it's news. It's news if you think it's news.
It's new. Yeah, I said it on a news show. It is now news. Also, check out the rest of his tweets. He had a lot of really cool things to say about playing the character, where the ideas came from, the process of Daredevil Season 2. And if you like filmmaking or the entertainment industry at all, it's always really interesting to have an actor that prolific talking about a comic show with such love. So check it out. Now, moving on to Fox. Most of our news today is Fox-based. We have rumors that we'll get to at the end because that's our biggest talking point. But first of all, because I'm hosting the show, without Deadpool, I really couldn't, I wouldn't sleep at night tonight, knowing I didn't mention Deadpool. My boy Deadpool has beaten The Matrix. It's beaten every other R-rated movie except for Passion of the Christ. Deadpool is now officially the number 2 highest R-rated movie next to Jesus. Deadpool's catching up to Jesus Christ, you guys. Wade Wilson v. JC is moving along nicely.
It's a rumored crossover they're gonna do.
I'd watch the heck out of that movie. I'd watch Easter 2 Deadpool Rises. I would just enjoy that so much. So I just wanted to give Deadpool some love, saying that he's catching up to Jesus, and nothing makes me happier than that battle royale. And thank you, America and the world, for making that happen. Moving on to actual news that isn't just me being excited. New Mutants and Kinberg in general are saying that they might feature X-Men we know. So, they said, quote, "Traditionally, the New Mutants have some characters that cross over from the mainline X-Men movies. As we are going, I would say it's likely that you will see some familiar faces. There's a very deep bench. There's a long list of names, and I'll tell you some of the names on that list that I don't even know. That's how deep it goes. What do you think about the idea of introducing characters that we've maybe seen in other timelines before in this New Mutants universe?"
Sure, go for it. Sure, I guess. I don't know. There's so many, right? There's there's a lot that don't have storylines or anything. You could even build whatever you wanted to. They're so flexible. It's absolutely. Why wouldn't you use that?
Well, with Deadpool, again, they managed to bring in a character that was in a comic, Negasonic Teenage Warrior,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
absolutely.
Colossus,
Who I love.
So like a character
Yeah.
that's not known and very well known, and make it work in a universe they created. So New Mutants doing that just makes a lot of sense to me. But
Yeah,
for
you
some
could
reason,
absolutely. It makes it flexible. You could have different timelines, and they could appear in other places, and that's cool. You could, and then kind of feel out, like the audience can sort of feel out, like, oh, we loved both those mutants in Deadpool, so
Yeah.
like those people could be reoccurring characters, and they could make an appearance in the X-Men films now. Like
there's just such a
if they
universe they could build.
Yes,
like,
yes.
And their Fox is actually realizing what kind of scope they have. I feel like with Age of Apocalypse becoming the giant behemoth it is, it looks like they're actually spreading out their comics, so to speak, and like leaning back, like we could do all of this.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have a comment directly stating that they're doing what we've all dreamed of, and just like picking maybe our favorite X-Men. Like, I never thought I'd see Chamber in a movie, but now it sounds like maybe I will. Like, stuff like these characters I never thought I'd see realized. I'm really excited. Is there anyone you want specifically?
I'm trying to look at the list of anyone particularly. I mean, I feel like they touched down on like the classic ones that I'm a huge fan of. I'm not terribly familiar with some of these on their list. I'm like, where are you guys from? Like,
Well,
where
that's
were you
they're
this
saying.
whole
They're saying.
time? Yeah,
see,
I'm like,
he's
where
saying,
have you been?
Kinberg's like, I don't even know some of these people. That's really exciting to me.
In the chat, they're talking about, what about Negasonic?
Yeah, that's what I
like-
think. That's what they're hinting at. Personally, I think that's how they're going to tie it in, is bring her into the broader universe than Deadpool, and that's a great way to tie in Deadpool without having to have Ryan Reynolds around all
Yeah,
the time, which
yeah.
I want, but you can't always afford. Well, live chat and Twitter, I would love for you guys to send us the people you would like to see in a New Mutants movie, because I'm always interested in your thoughts versus ours. Moving on to X-Men proper, Jennifer Lawrence has come out and said very publicly that she's dying to come back. That, quote, I love these movies. I love being in them. I love ensemble movies because it's not on anyone's shoulders. Now, this is not like her haircut, why it was only interesting to tabloids. This is interesting to me because she always seemed like the one that was trying to get out of these films, and she publicly didn't like being Mystique, being Blue. She didn't seem to be one that wanted to be involved with this level of blockbuster because she turned into this Oscar indie actress. And I am curious if her changing her mind will shape or change the shape of the X-Men movies moving forward. Because she's always been the one that's been like the leader of the X-Men for some reason because she's such a great actress. I'm curious if they keep her for the sake of her fans and the Hunger Game people, or why she's totally changed her mind. Like, this is a total 180.
I feel this is funny because we differ so much on this.
That's why it's a news highlight, because we're in a very different.
So much on Jennifer Lawrence and why she's in these movies and why we think she's in these films.
Right.
I mean, I feel like with what happened with the first couple of X-Men films, she's like one foot in, 1 foot out the door, sort of like protecting yourself. Like, yeah, I think I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to go. And then, I mean, Apocalypse looks amazing.
Right.
I was more excited about Apocalypse than Civil War. And
wait until you see Winter Soldier. You might change your mind.
all right, fair enough, fair.
Just saying.
But I think like her role in, just from what you can see in the trailer for Apocalypse, is it's like she is like the leader in this one, and maybe there's stuff in it that we don't know yet.
But why would she?
And maybe we don't know what happens in the movie yet, but there's like rumors that maybe she might not make it through this film.
I hope it's a very, very funny pun, not even a pun, but a play on. She's saying, "I'm dying to come back." If she dies,
oh, that's
and like,
so funny. How do you not love her for that?
I know that's exactly something she'd do. Like Jennifer Lawrence
That's
would
what
be
Jennifer
like,
Lawrence
you know what I mean?
would
Like,
do, yeah.
so I would be really happy if she's like, "I'm dying to come back," dies in the
you
film.
Jennifer Lawrence to this
Yeah,
so hard.
I'd be really happy. I like Jennifer Lawrence, the actress. I like Jennifer Lawrence, the public persona. I don't know if I like Mystique leading the X-Men, so I'm really torn. Like, it's nothing against J-Law. It's nothing against, like, her entire ness. I think she's great. I just don't like the comics being so morphed for the shape of actors.
No pun intended.
I'd take morph in a movie. I just want the comics to be reflected a little more directly and not based off actors being cast as characters. You know what I mean?
That's true. I think that's a healthy medium, though, in between trying to stay true to the comics and appeal to an audience that maybe wouldn't normally.
Right, no, that's why they're doing it. I
Yeah.
just think that Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is amazing and he's great, but him being the focal point of X-Men
saying
1,
you could
2,
do
and
both.
3,
You can
can make the comic fans happy and the other fans happy without sacrificing the story. So I'm curious moving forward if they'll keep sacrificing the story for the sake of the actors, or if they'll start, as I've said many times, it's becoming more and more of an X-Men movie, if they'll start shaping it that way.
Okay, that's fair, I guess.
It's a very political answer, but I think
I know that's very like, all right, that's safe.
It's safe. Everyone's happy. I want her to be involved. I just don't want her to be the leader.
I'm so excited. I think she'd make a great leader, and I think Mystique, even in like the animated shows, what I'm most familiar with, she was sort of a leader of the other side, but she was like a head honcho.
She's like head honcho in Uncanny X-Men right now, but it's a team of villains, so it kind of works. But like, she shouldn't be like telling the core X-Men.
I think that's what's going to make it more tragic.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So
I think the only way to read her comments, there's two things. She's either just being political because she has to start promoting the movie, and if she publicly says I'm not going to do any more, that's a negative on people buying tickets. Or she saw a cut and liked it, and suddenly is like, ooh, maybe I don't want to go.
Right. I mean, it's just, I'd rather have, if you want like a strong female leader, which comic films need, Jean Grey is ignored constantly. Like, I feel like bringing her to the forefront would be a way to incorporate a strong female character and be more true to the comics. That's what I'd do. I just think that's more of a direct way to please everyone than having someone that just happens to be a fantastic actress because of ticket sales lead the X-Men. So, just my 2 cents. Moving on before anyone gets angry.
More X-Men news.
We do have some more X-Men news. Well, tangential X-Men news. Poor Gambit. Guys, I have been defending this film and pushing for this film and hoping for this film
You backing the wrong horse?
For 2 years. I've really been like, yeah, Channing Tatum's gonna be a great Gambit. Yeah, this director's perfect. And then the director drops out. Yeah, this new director's great too. I am so excited for Gambit, but it keeps not existing. Gambit was just delayed again. It looks like it won't even start shooting until the original release date, roughly. It's not even going to start shooting until late this year at the earliest, and it's being pushed so much that they might have to recast all the supporting characters. So that is not good news ever. You never want a film to be pushed so much that you like lose your cast. Channing Tatum's still attached, but
what is the curse that is Gambit, though? Because Gambit, so Gambit was in the X-Men films already, and no one cared
Taylor
at
Kitsch
all.
was in the Wolverine film, and that was the problem, was that movie shouldn't exist. And that, moving forward, didn't exist.
No one cared at all when it
Days
happened.
of Future Past was made to negate X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men 3, so therefore we got a new Gambit, Channing Tatum, who I think's great. He doesn't look necessarily like Gambit, but he loves the character enough that doesn't matter to me. Like, he's not skinny and like lanky.
I don't know. I think it's definitely a vanity role and not like
he loves the character. He's been publicly like pushing for it. He's the one that got it made. He's the one that keeps it alive. I don't think it's vanity. He is Magic Mike's vanity. It's a movie about his life story where he gets to show his abs.
Who's great. You know what? I feel like Gambit would probably do better as a Netflix series.
See, I don't know if Gambit has... no offense to Giant Gambit fans, I don't know if Gambit has 13 hours worth of material, but I do guarantee you has 2.5 hours of great material. You know what I mean? Like, I think he is movie-based. I think you have an amazing caper story. You've got New Orleans, you've got the charm of Gambit, you've got the cart. You've got so much that would make a great movie. I don't know why it just
I don't know, at the rate that it's going with this, it's sort of like cut your losses and... Let's recast. Let's get maybe some. I just
want it some. It's personal. I want Channing Tatum's Gambit, and I'm in the minority of comic fans.
Like, no,
because I think he has the ability and the compassion to make it work. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Like, I keep hearing rumors it's totally done, and these delays don't make those rumors.
I just hope that I'd rather them do these delays and sort of think about it and get a new director, kind of bring on a new supporting. Good. Yeah,
absolutely.
Then what happens with some movies where they just rush it.
Well, Edge of Tomorrow is one of my favorite sci-fi films in the last 10 years. It's that director. He now apparently is directing another movie before he even touches Gambit. Not a good sign. Like, it's literally delayed to the point where he's like, I'll do this other one first. Like,
need to clear my head a little bit.
Not a good sign.
Take a sabbatical.
So I'm still pushing for it, Society. I hope it happens. I know I'm very much alone in that, but...
Do you guys think they eventually sort of backdoor pilot it where we introduce him in a regular X-Men universe story?
I mean, I wouldn't be upset with that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because if you're having trouble with this, like, do a test screening, basically, with
see how
of
people like him.
Put him into the theaters, and if they like Channing Tatum as Gambit, give him a movie. If not, you still got him. You still have to play the character.
I agree with that, and I think that we saw Ryan Reynolds push for Deadpool for 11 years. Channing Tatum's not nearly to that level yet, but he is very vocal. He seems very excited. I want it for him, so at least give him the cameo moment. You're right. I like that idea. Mm-hmm. Will it happen? We don't know, but I hope so.
To see Quicksilver.
will tell.
Only time. And while we're on X-Men, we have some amazing new suits that so many amazing fans tweeted at me. I got this picture sent to me so many times that I couldn't possibly respond to everyone. Thank you, everyone. 3 weeks ago, I basically said that I didn't like the suits because they weren't comic booky enough, and then this image happened in my life, and it is a great 50-50 in my opinion. It is a wonderful version between Bryan Singer's love of the black leather 90s flavor with yellow highlights, comic line work. It looks like an almost...
Oh, it has yellow highlights in
Yeah,
it?
you see-
Oh,
you
okay,
see-
I see very subtly.
Like, it's a very nice way to blend those worlds, and it looks like an image from a comic book from the 90s. And for me, X-Men, the 90s animated series and the 90s run, Jim Lee's art is my X-Men. So this looks like a beautiful amalgamation of those worlds, and I really hope this is what they're in most of the time. Especially Nightcrawler. Look at Nightcrawler's red shoulder pads. That's like...
Yeah,
that's
very
perfect.
thriller and...
Oh, it's so good.
It also manages to look super 80s without being like, hey, look at these
Without
thigh
dating
warmers.
itself,
Yeah.
It doesn't date itself, but it pays perfect homage to the... Because we talked about that last time. You're like, nah, I don't like the...
They didn't
like,
work for
you
me.
were being so nitpicky.
I am...
with
It's
this.
some sort of Marvel movie news show where I
And-
can nitpick publicly.
Oh, but I mean, like, you weren't even giving it a fair chance. And
I
I think
wasn't.
this is a good example of that because we talked about it and you're like, where are their yellow spandex? And I was like, they're at war.
Yeah.
They need, like, some armor.
No, they need yellow spandex armor.
And, no, but this is beautiful.
I think it's a
I
great-
held out for this, and I'm super
A
excited.
lot of people
I
don't
haven't
like
seen
it. Like
this.
even
I'm
the
just
live
seeing
chat. Oh, this is your.
I'm just seeing
Even
this.
the live chat. People don't like the suits necessarily, but like I personally, I think this is.
I think these are great.
A great
yeah.
blend.
They're-
Cyclops' visor looks great. Beast's costume looks wonderful. You can't really see Quicksilver's, but it's got the iconic X, which is enough for me. Mystique having the white, like full chest
Yeah.
piece is straight from the
That's
comics.
super cool.
So I personally very excited. I hope it's as 90s flavored as this image conveys it to be. Thank you, Bryan Singer, for getting ever more X-Men as you go along.
Thank you.
I do
Shout
think it's
out Bryan
funny
Singer.
that you can see that Storm is wearing heels
Yes,
in this photo.
yes. And Bald McAvoy never ceases to make me happy. Like, just that image makes me... He was originally cast in... Fun fact, he was originally cast in 50-50, in which he shaved his head, and then once again shaved his head when he thought he was playing Xavier that way, and now he finally gets to be Bald Xavier after multiple shavings. I'm very excited. Now, finally, the last news-ish news of the day is a rumor has popped up again that has repeatedly popped up. Generally, I try to stay away from rumors on the show because... they're rumors, but this rumor is big and exciting enough that I really couldn't avoid it. Rumor has it that once again, Marvel and Fox are talking about sharing the X-Men. This is the biggest of rumors. This has a 1% chance at this point of being reality, but enough news sources are reporting it and enough people tweeted at me that I wanted to mention it. Personally, I would love if they did it in the way that Sony and Spider-Man are doing it, where they have, it's still owned by Sony, or in this case Fox, and they're rented out, so to speak.
Yeah, loan them out for a little bit.
So that way you have the brilliance of the Marvel empire to shape and form your world, but you also don't lose the integrity and the money in this case, because they're studios, of the characters.
Yeah, I feel like that's a win-win for both people in that case, because you can, have someone mold this character into something good and do something with it that they want to do with it, and then you have this great character to sort of lean back on. Or you could just sort of deny that completely. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you have that
You have a little freedom.
Yeah.
Now, I once again don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't think so either. I think this is exactly what you said it is.
People
It's a
excited.
rumor.
It's a
Yeah.
rumor. It's just like there's
Someone
more...
was like, what if? And then someone
And
never
then someone
heard
wrote it
it.
and
Someone was
wrote
like,
it.
this is fact.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just enough people tweeted at me. I wanted to at least acknowledge it, that
Yeah.
the rumor is going around. There are more X-Men comics than there were before, so Marvel's not seemingly as mad. But we still don't have the merchandise. We're not seeing... I didn't have an X-Men shirt to wear today, so I wore my Marvel YOLO. There aren't quite enough factors that seem legit, but if it goes that way, we'll all be excited. We just don't think it's necessarily going that way.
I'm going to throw out a controversial opinion here.
Yes?
I actually don't think that they should combine the universes.
Why?
I think it would hurt the X-Men storylines.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things that I've always struggled with when reading the comics, where the X-Men, what makes X-Men X-Men is the story of being oppressed, of the government telling the mutants that they're not good enough or they need to be sanctioned off or any of that. But in the MCU, in a world where you have heroes saving the day and the world is And Civil War will redefine this a little bit, but you're already sort of deciding how the world's going to view people with powers. Now you introduce the X-Men to that. How are they going to differentiate themselves enough to feel like the X-Men to give us the X-Men stories that we know and love?
Now, what I would do, what I think would be amazing is if they let the characters interact with the occasional Marvel character, but keep the universe as separate as possible, but use the brain trust of Marvel. Like, use their expertise, use their world shaping, and don't make it as blended as, say, kind of like how the Netflix universe and the Marvel universe, like, you know, they touch each other, they're friendly, they're homies, but they're not, like, together.
Yeah.
Like, have a moment and have interaction, but don't have them blend. That way you have the best of both worlds, what you're just describing. And
they did that in the Civil War comics, right, with the X-Men.
Well, X-Men and Avengers fought, and, like, you know, there's stuff that happens all the time. Cause
yeah,
they're
but
all...
I mean, just particularly where like, something like, we're not going to have to worry about, like, Civil War, like, something like that, like, in the comics.
Yeah, I'd just like a little bit of the help from I'd like the comics to be a little bit more interactive with the films and vice versa. That's all I want. If that can happen with them staying at Fox entirely, I'll take it. We haven't seen that quite yet.
We could get a really cool, like, Secret Wars-esque story if we do Avengers versus X-Men where the worlds crash together. And that's how we get, like, a crossover movie event, and then they go back to their own separate
And everybody
stories.
wins. And it's very exciting. So that concludes most of our news for today. And as the temporary host for the day, I wanted to make today fairly fan Marvel centric. And I discovered very recently that we have a phone number, you guys. We have a call in situation. We've never done this in the show before.
It's just our cell phones.
I'm going to give out my number. No. I want you guys to call in from wherever you are. The number is 424-256-1633, and we'll actually take some on-air questions. I'm so excited. So whoever wants to call in, do it up.
Or if no one wants to call in.
If no one wants to call in, you can
Well,
just-
while we're waiting for people to call in, is there anything else that you guys are just excited about that you've, like, seen that's not, like, news?
that Conor McGregor is fighting Diaz in UFC 200.
I was thinking Marvel related news of some kind, but-
I'm rewatching Daredevil season 2 already like a crazy person because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything, and I watched it all in 3 days, and I'm sure that was very not good on my brain's comprehension level. And I really think that it is the standard we're going to move forward, kind of like Guardians set the bar for the bizarre strange. I feel like Daredevil set the bar for the multi-villain, multi-superhero world, and if the movies can implement that and learn from that, I think we'll be in a much better place as a comic society, because that show was hella comic-y. There's ninjas, guys, and it worked.
Yeah, they did a good job of introducing the Shadow Realm to like that, because it starts out pretty like, oh, this is a world I'm familiar with,
and I didn't realize how slow build like the whole was and stuff. Like the things that we still don't have answers for most of the questions. And it's season
requests
2.
being careful of spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't give anything away there, but I got close.
We do, however, have a call on the line.
Ooh, let's do it.
Let's see. Hey, caller, you're on the air. Tell us what your name is and where you're calling from.
Hi, this is DC. I'm calling from Las Vegas.
How you doing, man?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
I was just calling. I wanted to ask if you think that the fact that Bucky and Rhodey's names are both James, if that will affect the movie.
Bucky and Rhodey are both what?
Both their first names is James.
Oh, you mean like the Martha? You're like making a Martha allegory. You know, I feel like maybe, and there'll be a moment where Tony Stark's like, "I can't be mad at you. Your name is James," and then the war ends. I think.
Exactly.
I love this question so much. Why, yes, I do think that will happen, because it seems like a logical thing that could happen in reality. I'm gonna get so much hate for saying all that I just said. Thank you so much for pointing that out to me. I never noticed. You're the man, Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, man.
All right, we got another caller. Hey, you're on the line with Marvel Movie News. Tell us your name and where you're from.
Hey, Jim Patton from Houston, Texas.
How you doing, Jim?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm so privileged to get to talk to you guys. Thank you for your weekly show.
You're super welcome.
Happy to do it. I love being here Thursdays.
Hey, I had a couple of things I'd love to hear you opine about. They're not real current, but and I know that you're currently talking about the possibility of rumors of Fox and Marvel working together. how would you guys feel about Doctor Doom as a Netflix show?
Mm-hmm.
I'd squeeze what I would do.
And if you had any fan casting for that. And then how would you feel about Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi as a Netflix show? He was those two guys, I guess Doctor Doom's always been my favorite villain, and Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi was my introduction in the comics.
Oh, no way.
He's the son of Fu Manchu.
I feel like he would be a great addition to Iron Fist. I feel like he'd be a great way to... I mean, a backdoor pilot by way of Iron Fist would be incredible. I think it'd be a great way for a lot of fans that really wanted an Asian or Asian American Iron Fist to have a character that they have as a hero, someone that is everything that he should be. And we deserve an Asian American or an Asian actor as the lead. That'd be an amazing way to do it. I think introducing him in Iron Fist would be a great way to have that show, and I think he's absolutely a character that could totally have his own show. Doctor Doom, I think, would be a great way to... Doctor Doom would be a really cool way to have a villain be the lead of a show and make Fantastic Four the villain. That's what I was just
saying. Yeah, it was very interesting, like how you would do it, the lead.
Like Dexter. I'd have it a Dexter. I'd have it a Dexter-based show where it would be effectively you feel bad for this man who's a brilliant scientist who's been scarred, who no one understands, who feels like he's trapped in this place, Latveria, who can't escape, and no one loves him anymore. And he's just so brilliant. And then you cast Joaquin Phoenix. Or someone that is just has that charisma and charm, but you can't tell how unhinged they are. And or Rufus Sewell would be awesome too. Rufus Sewell's got that ness. And I would watch both those shows, man.
I'd say it'd have to be like an origin story of him and like maybe how he became he could be a good guy.
Yeah,
I think the great way to do it would be like doing Fantastic Four, the TV series, like we got Daredevil season 1, where it was just as much D'Onofrio's show as it was it was just as much Kingpin as it was Daredevil. Mm-hmm. He owned that, and if you really treat Doom like he is a hero of his own story instead of just a crazy maniacal ruler of a foreign land, then you could get something really interesting out of it.
Yeah, and that goes back to the well-rounded villain characters where we're able to sort of take villains and really get a good feeling of their backstory and really care about it and make these really intricate, who's really a good guy and who's really a bad guy.
And it would be a great way to separate Fantastic Four from the other interpretations. We just had a Fantastic Four, so go do it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thank you for that question.
When I read his history on the web, Dr. Doom's history, it occurred to me that in all the movies, the ultimate failure with him is he is such a rich character. He has such a rich background and motivations and all the things that he's been through, really many of them prior to any of his involvement with Fantastic Four. And so I'd almost be interesting to see a Netflix season 1 with Dr. Doom and then a season 2 of Dr. Doom being where Fantastic Four come in.
Yeah, like Daredevil. And
dude, I'm all about that idea, man. I think it's great, and I think there's a lot of good actors who could kill it.
Stop talking about it and then sell it. Pitch that.
Yeah, man, write it and write a letter.
Yeah, send a letter.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man.
You're so welcome.
My blessings to everybody.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, we got another caller.
This is fun.
Oh, this is great.
Hey, you're on the line. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeremy, Chicago.
Hi, Jeremy.
How's it going, man? What's your question, Jeremy?
I was going to ask about some Spider-Man stuff.
Oh, I got you.
You got Coy.
What do you think? What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Hear Coy's opinion, because he will shout it.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm on a lag because I'm watching the show at the same time.
Oh yeah, we're about 5 seconds behind for nip slips.
Yeah, no.
Coy's
what
nips.
I was asking was, if obviously with Spider-Man partially in Marvel's hands with Sony, if whoever this first villain is, do you think basically eventually they would probably maybe do the Sinister Six, because I think it's eventual that Dr. Octopus is probably going to show up again.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be obviously there's a lot of great actors out there, so somebody else could do it. Alfred Molina's great. But I think, that's something that they would have been considering, when they had all their talks. So do you think maybe eventually that could happen, and we actually get the Sinister Six, maybe they were going, if this first Spider-Man is received well?
Now, Drew Goddard, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but he is one of the creators of, amazingly enough, Daredevil. He helped the show get off the ground. He also wrote Cabin in the Woods and is a brilliant writer, and I love his work. He has a completed Sinister Six script, which is apparently still in the hands of Sony and still optioned. It's still a thing that might happen. So it's a really cool thing where we might actually get something like an annual. We might get a story that's completely independent of the universe that would feature the Sinister Six that might or might not correlate with the new Spider-Man we have, because they don't have that situation. Like they don't have to have that exclusive. So I would love personally if they introduced a few smaller members, smaller villains, and then built up to that. Absolutely. I don't know if we'll get that sooner rather than later, because it'd be interesting as Spider-Man grew up. But I think it's definitely an option, especially since they've been kind of public about keeping that script still in their hands.
Right, yeah, I totally hear you. And then just one quick small thing, I'll let you go. Like, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but are you surprised we haven't gotten notice for Daredevil season 3 yet?
Well, I think they were overwhelmed by the next wave of excitement, because Daredevil season 1 was the mystery. Jessica Jones was a bit of a mystery. They, I think, knew Daredevil season 2 would be a huge thing, but I don't think they knew quite how big it would be or how fans would react, and they still have to figure out Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones season 2. So I think it's not a matter of them releasing that yes it's happening. I think it's a matter of them going well, they're gonna want to know when, and we've got 82 shows to sort. So I think it's more of a calendar movement than a delay in
Yeah, I definitely think we're still worried about spoilers and spoiling it for people. They're just trying to wrap their heads around how quickly it's become. So it's better than season 1. If it was a
normal show, it'd only be 2 episodes in. If it wasn't Netflix,
exactly,
we'd still be on episode 2. So releasing that kind of information could ruin a lot of people's.
So there's a bunch of people running around in an office screaming "Hurry! We got to get ready for season 3." Probably. I feel like that we're gonna hear something very soon, though.
Yeah, we're living in an age of now. So I think sooner than later. And I
at least rumors.
Last week's show, I was saying I'd rather have Daredevil season 3 than anything else, and I stand by that. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
People in the chat room are asking for a Netflix Howard the Duck series.
Man, I think Seth Green would be real excited to hear that.
What was wrong with the movie? I thought the first one was
George
great,
Lucas's
guys.
magnum opus? Has that guy done anything since? I think George Lucas had some future going for him.
There you go, that's it.
Thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I watch you guys every week. It's not complete without you guys. I've been following for the whole last year.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it, man.
Hopefully I can meet you guys in the future. Personally, come to Chicago.
Dude, the day I come to Chicago, I will look you up on the Twitter, and the Cosmic Couch awaits if you're in LA.
No problem, man. At JLedger88.
Oh, dude, I know you on the Twitter. Good to meet you, man. Phone meet you.
Yeah, Matt's answered a couple of my questions a few times. I really appreciate it. You guys are cool, down to earth, and I know they say don't ever meet your heroes, but that's not you guys. You guys
you can meet them.
Dude, much love, man. Keep up on the Twitter. I love your stuff.
Later.
Peace.
All right, we got time for one more call.
Final call.
Hey, you're on the air with Marvel Movie News. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, my name's Brian. I'm calling in from Portland, Oregon.
Oh, I've always wanted to go there.
Hey, good. Hey, guys, I just wanted to... haven't we talked about The Punisher yet, or...?
We did a little bit.
Okay, I want, because I think... the Punisher TV show on Netflix would be really cool. But what villains do you think you should fight?
Jigsaw.
In that show.
I've wanted to see Jigsaw done fully and completely and messily and horrific. I want to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre caliber messed up Jigsaw in a show. 13 hours of... So you've got season 1 with Kingpin and Daredevil. That was very interesting because both sides were there. Imagine a combination of the Russian Jigsaw, a bunch of the villains that are just horrific to look at as this mafia side of things, and Punisher systematically taking them out, but you make them just likable enough that you're not sure if you want them to be brutally maimed. I would love a show with a likable Jigsaw somehow. I don't know if it's possible, but Jigsaw is such an interesting villain that they could make really special. And being a hard R-rated show, we could have a Jigsaw that could be really, really, really exciting and awful to look at.
Who was Punisher's counterpart? Like, was it Jigsaw?
Jigsaw and the Russian are the two that I think of as the main.
Would be like the counter.
And in the movie, they kind of made the Russian and Jigsaw one. They kind of formed that. I mean, different runs have different. Like Ennis's Punisher is very different than like when Punisher started, it was Spiderman was the he was a Spider-Man villain.
Oh God.
Like yeah.
I mean, yeah. For me personally, though, I think Barracuda would make a good villain.
Ooh,
why is that? I'd like to hear why.
Yeah, Barracuda. Well, that guy was very difficult to kill. I don't know if you read the Punisher Max series. I sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And and he was just a badass. He was just really, But yeah, I think Barracuda, or maybe even the Nucci family. The one that he faced off earlier. Oh, what was that? With Garth Ennis or so in his books or so.
Yeah, Garth Ennis' runs great.
Family, or the Barracuda, or I just lost my other train of thought. Actually, I can't remember who the other guy was. But yeah, Jigsaw. I think Jigsaw is fair. Yeah, Jigsaw will be good.
It's a great problem to have that there's so many cool villains, man. Like Punisher could really be a special show, and I would love an inverse Sopranos. I would love a show where the organized mob family are opposite Punisher, and you're following along their story. Everybody loves a crime show. It'd be cool if you had the criminals just as exciting as Punisher because Jon Bernthal is just killing it, and then you care about both sides, and then all of a sudden, like you have to deal with that, a la Daredevil season 1. Bring that on, man.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And of course, if Spider-Man came out, dude, they got to have Spider-Man and Punisher. Just one scene of them together, dude. I would totally.
Or just like nice little Easter eggs, yeah, like they have been doing.
Yeah. Well, they auditioned together. Did you hear about that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I wish I could see the footage of that. That would be awesome.
Oh, I just love the idea of Tom Holland holding a camera for Jon Bernthal and vice versa. Just that imagery to me, like instead of the gun with the sniper, like it being a camera and it being on audition is so. The world's a great thing, man.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, dude. Yeah,
thank you for the awesome question. That's a great question.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye. So, guys, that was our first call-in round. That was really fun.
That went so well.
There were no... See, we found an amazing corner of the internet where we have comic fans that aren't hyper-negative or overzealous or... This is a really cool community Marvel Movie News has found, and I apologize for any DC jabs. It was just a really funny question. It slipped out. I want the Batman vs. Superman universe to grow and build and have DC be just as big as Marvel. That was really funny with the names. So, guys, that was our show. I hope I filled in for Matt Key's very, very high.
You did. That's my shout out for today. I just want to shout out to Coy for being a wonderful host, and I'm sure everyone on the chat can agree.
I'm sorry for the lack of spiel, but I tried.
No, you did great. Your volume was just right.
Just always there. It was really excited. Guys, thank you
I do want to give one shout out.
Oh, please.
Doom has a shout out that I have to give because I got sent a photo this week from let me make sure I get the name right because it's very difficult to pronounce. Tor Bergen-Terrell sent me a cover of a Tales to Astonish Ant-Man title that I legitimately did not know existed. And I'm going to put it up on the screen because Tales to Astonish number 42 has Ant-Man, my favorite character, fighting the man with the voice of Doom.
Dude, that is amazing. That's so good.
My mind, and now I'm in desperate search of a top quality version cover.
That's you got a cameo, man.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. And I forgot, I have one very important shout out. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to give a shout out to a Sir Todd Kaplan, who is often on our YouTube comments, and I don't always read all the YouTube comments, but he left a very sweet one, and usually does leave very sweet ones. He's been out of the ICU, and he says Marvel Movie News helps him keep going, and it's a very long, very passionate, wonderful thing he said, and always does. So Todd Kaplan, I hope you're doing better, and I hope that once again we can make your week better, because that's what we're here for, and that's amazing. So much love to Todd. I think that is our show. I love your Twitter stuffs, and I hope that I respond to enough of them. Please, just send me stuff. I love you guys. Jaden, thank you so much for being on. Where people find you?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, you can check me out on Twitter at Jaden LaBelle. Check me out on Instagram, all that fun stuff. Snapchat's one of my favorite. If you want to follow me on that, it's all Jaden LaBelle. Thanks for having me on the show again. It was a lot of fun. Everyone's really cool. We had a really good... I loved the live talk.
The voice call was really cool.
So much fun. I hope we get to do that again.
Yeah, I dug that. Everyone, if you didn't make it in the call this time, we're going to try to do it again in the future. And I was Coy Jandro, at Coy Jandro, and this has been Marvel Movie News. Thanks a lot, guys.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.